I am with Kelly McGinnis, who's from the C-suite of one of those top Fortune 100 companies. C-suite. What does that mean when someone says the C-suite, Kelly?
Just means the top 20 people or so.
Top 20 people. And
Yeah.
of those top 20 people, how many of them are Gen Z?
0.
Zero. It's not that often where you see even a Fortune 500 company where there'd be somebody that's a Gen Z in the C-suite, right?
No, very, very rare these days. You see it sometimes with tech companies and some of the smaller up and coming companies, of course, but not in some of the more established larger ones.
And the reason why is it takes time. I mean, you really almost have to earn your stripes to get to a C-suite.
You do. You do. And you need a pattern of experience that can inform some of the decisions that you'll see that you need to make super quickly.
Because the C-suite doesn't just, again, when we say C-suite of a Fortune 100 company, you also have to report not just to your customers, but to your shareholders. And they want to see that seniority inside somebody, right?
Yes, seniority and experience. And seniority doesn't always come with years, but it always comes with experience.
Got it. But since you're not a Gen Z or you do want to speak to that Gen Z, let's flip it around. What can we learn from Gen Z? These generations that say, "Hey, I've been around this planet so many times, I get it," but maybe not. What can we learn from Gen Z?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is they use their voice early. So when they see something that might not be what might not make sense, they ask why, they push the boundaries, they say it, whereas the prior generations might have just hung on to that and not really voiced their opinion, which if they don't, maybe it'll never change. But Gen Z really does early on, I would say is the first
So
thing.
it's important for a good leader to listen to Gen Z, even though you might think it's noise and might actually have some really useful meaning behind it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the
And
key to me for oh, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I think the key for me is for Gen Z, speak early often, but also make sure that you're accumulating the right experience to drive the outcome. And because sometimes your first instinct for anybody, but for a Gen Z is not the right one, but saying it is super important.
And when you hear them speak up, is it verbal or is it other forms of communication they're using?
It's both. It's both, but I would say it's more effective to do it verbally so that the leaders and I can understand the context of where they're coming from.
Got it. Okay, so they speak up generally sooner than the other generations. What's another thing we can learn from Gen Z?
They just aren't scared. So prior generations, I think, are very they're scared of what other people will think. They're scared of making a move. They're scared of getting fired. They're scared of just life. And I think Gen Zs are just they're less scared. And if something happens and the company they're with doesn't work out, they're not afraid about it. And I that drives a behavior which is push the boundaries. It is challenge the status quo. That really makes a company better. That fear in some of the older generations really holds people back.
It's kind of a fascinating thing. You're saying they're fearless in some respects.
Yes. Yeah.
Do they have other options in their mind? Is that why? Or do they, I hate to use this term, is it just they don't care?
No, I don't think it's they don't care. I just think if they conclude that they can't be themselves and be successful in a specific environment, they will find something else. And it doesn't always mean some other corporation, but it always means something that they will be able to do that they like that will pay their bills. I think they actually feel that that is more of a reality than we would have done in our generations before.
All right. So we got, they're willing to speak up. They are brave, fearless. Okay. What's the third thing that they do that the other generations that you have working for you, what do they do differently or uniquely?
The third thing is they want their work to mean something. So that doesn't always mean, I think we misinterpret that statement sometimes. It doesn't always mean it needs to be perfectly aligned to the charity that they're aligned to or something like that. It's just they want to know why they're doing it and the impact that it has. And I find that people that actually understand that are just so much better at their jobs. The people that go in and just do the work that their leader tells them to do aren't that effective because they don't understand the context or the why. And I think Gen Z really wants that work to mean something.
How about titles? Do titles matter as much to Gen Z as it does to other generations?
I think it depends on the person, but broadly, not really. And I say that because the title itself is not the important. It's they want to be in the room, making an impact and being really influential to the people that matter. And the misconception is that always means titles, and sometimes it does, but not all the time. And so I really don't think they're looking for the title. They're looking for the influence and they're looking to make an impact.
All right. So let's just pretend we're in a room. There is no Gen Zers in that room at all. Okay. You have people of your generation, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, and a bunch of Gen Zs are going to come in to this the business, the organization. And you're warning these non Gen Z generations about them coming in. How do you warn them or inform them about what they're about to experience?
Yeah. So I always say that the Gen Z folks are going to say what's on their mind.
Okay.
And it might not be something we want to hear, and it might not be entirely relevant at that moment, but it's going to be important to take it. So I always say that. And then I also warn that there's less formality with that generation. So for the older generations, we would remember if you go into the room with the top 20 people in the company, you listen, you don't speak, you listen to the hierarchy. Gen Z doesn't care about the hierarchy. And so if they say those things and they show up that way, it's just the way that they've learned over the last, 5 to 7 years in their jobs. And it feels very strange for some of the older folks, but I always say that.
I love what you've been doing on both your Substack and your LinkedIn. A lot of the things we're talking about, not just that, but how to live and I know you don't like the word balanced life, but a life that you live to the fullest. You express that on both platforms. Are you liking one over the other? Are you liking LinkedIn more, or Substack, or do you find out they're good companions to one another?
I think they're good companions. The LinkedIn will get the broader reach, and then if someone is interested in going a little deeper, they go to the Substack, which is where I keep all that stuff.
Kelly, thanks a lot for hanging out.
Thanks, Ken.